There are a handful of companies so powerful, you already know their names. Apple, hence that dominate industries and shape everyday life. But then, there's another company, one that operates on a completely different level. A company so massive, so deeply embedded in the global system, that some people genuinely believe it quietly controls the world. And here's the twist. There's a good chance you've never even heard of it. That company is BlackRock. Now, this isn't just another financial firm. BlackRock was founded back in 1988, and in just over 3 decades, it has grown into something almost impossible to comprehend. We are talking about a company that manages around $10 trillion in assets. Let that sink in for a second. That's not just big, that's bigger than the entire economy of most countries on Earth. So the real question becomes, what exactly is BlackRock? And how did a company that started as a risk management firm end up becoming the largest asset manager in the world, quietly influencing the financial lives of millions of ordinary people? BlackRock Inc. is an American multinational investment management corporation, headquartered in New York City. At its core, it started as a firm focused on risk management and fixed income investments, basically helping large institutions understand and control financial risk. But over time, it didn't just grow, it exploded. Today, BlackRock operates across the globe with roughly 70 offices, spread across 30 countries, serving clients in over 100 countries. This isn't just a company anymore, it's a global financial network. So how did it all begin? BlackRock was founded in 1988 by Larry Fink, along with several other key figures like Robert Kapito, Susan Wagner, and Barbara Novick. From the very beginning, something about this company was different. Within just months, it was already profitable, and by the following year, its assets had quadrupled to around $2.7 billion. That kind of growth? It's almost unheard of. By 1992, the firm officially adopted the name BlackRock, and from there, things only accelerated. That same year, they were managing around $17 billion. Just 2 years later, that number jumped to $53 billion. Now imagine watching that kind of growth in real time. Because by 2004, after a series of aggressive acquisitions, BlackRock's assets had climbed to around $325 billion. At that point, it was already one of the most powerful financial institutions in the United States. Then came a turning point, the financial crisis of 2008. While most companies were collapsing, BlackRock was doing the opposite. The United States government actually brought them in to help clean up the damage. Think about that for a second. When the global financial system started breaking down, they called BlackRock. And by 2009, BlackRock had officially become the largest asset manager in the world, larger than even the biggest banks, including Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Over the years, BlackRock has earned a reputation that's almost mythical. Some have even described it as a shadow presence on Wall Street, always there, always influencing, but rarely fully understood. And with that level of power comes criticism, a lot of it. You don't grow into a $10 trillion giant without stepping on a few toes along the way. One of the biggest criticisms centers around environmental impact. BlackRock is one of the top shareholders in many of the world's largest oil companies, and it's also among the top investors in several of the biggest coal producers on the planet. For critics, that raises serious concerns, because it means a company this powerful is deeply tied to industries that impact the environment. But here's where it gets interesting. BlackRock doesn't just ignore these criticisms. Instead, it pushes back. At the same time, it invests heavily in sustainability initiatives and environmental programs. So on one hand, it's connected to fossil fuels. On the other, it's funding green energy. It's a contradiction that continues to spark debate. But none of that has slowed its growth. Because when we talk about BlackRock being massive, we are not exaggerating. The company manages roughly 10% of all financial assets in the entire world. 10%. That means, 1 out of every $10 invested globally is somehow connected to BlackRock. And their influence goes way beyond just buying stocks and bonds. BlackRock advises central banks, government financial ministries, pension funds, insurance companies, and some of the largest institutional investors on the planet. From their headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, they are connected to almost every corner of the global economy. They hold major stakes in US banks. They own shares in companies across Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, whether it's car manufacturing in Germany, mining operations in South America, gold extraction in Africa. BlackRock is involved, in some way, somewhere. almost everywhere. So how do they manage something this big? How do they stay ahead in a financial world that's constantly changing? The answer is technology. BlackRock built something incredibly powerful, a system designed to predict risk, analyze markets, and understand financial behavior on a scale no human team ever could. They called it Aladdin. Aladdin isn't just software, it's the backbone of BlackRock's entire operation. Its job? To perform high-level risk analysis for some of the most important financial institutions in the world. This system processes sensitive data from banks, insurance companies, and major investors. Then it runs simulations constantly. We are talking about a network of around 5,000 computers working around the clock, 24 hours a day. It monitors millions of trades, analyzes entire portfolios, and predicts potential risks with an accuracy that's honestly a little unsettling. It doesn't just ask what's happening right now. It asks, what could go wrong tomorrow? What happens if markets crash? What happens if interest rates spike? What happens if entire sectors collapse? And then it calculates the answers. Because of this, Aladdin has become something like the central nervous system of the global financial world. And here's the crazy part. Most people have never even heard of it. But Aladdin does more than just analyze risk. It gives BlackRock something even more valuable: access. Through this system, BlackRock gains insight into massive amounts of financial data from institutions all over the world: banks, pension funds, insurance companies. In total, this gives them visibility into around $2 trillion worth of additional assets, on top of the $10 trillion they already manage. And that kind of information, that kind of positioning, puts BlackRock in an incredibly powerful place within the global economy. Because they don't just invest, they influence, they hold shares and voting power in some of the biggest companies in Europe, across industries like energy, oil and gas, transportation, food production. These aren't just businesses. These are the systems that keep society running. And when you zoom out, you start to realize something. BlackRock isn't just participating in the economy. It's woven into it. It holds government bonds. It manages retirement funds. It influences corporate decisions in ways most people never even notice. And the deeper you look, the more you realize this company's reach goes far beyond what anyone expects.